Well, speaking of Elon talking about things,
Okay. Yeah.
you guys ready for a non-space story for real quick?
Yes.
Hot
Yep.
second?
Do we have to?
Yeah. This is actually pretty cool. And it is, I guess, it's pretty similar. All right. So the El Cybertruck, that's Spanish for Cybertruck,
Is
is
that Cybertrucko?
what would it be? Camioneta Cyber? I don't know. Something like that. Anyways,
Computadora?
apparently they're going to be making a smaller one for our friends across the pond there in Europe because the Cybertruck is already too big for America. And it is ridiculously big. And Elon had previously said something about that from the prototype that they were considering reducing the size by about 3%, but then kind of walked that back and said, yeah, never mind. Even 3% is too small, so it has to stay basically the same size as the prototype, which is kind of ridiculous. And then now that Elon's saying on Twitter that Tesla is highly likely to make a smaller version for Europe. Now, apparently, this makes a lot of sense because pickup trucks in Europe aren't really a thing. If you need to haul something, you just will rent a trailer, and most cars over there have trailer hitches on them. So, so it's not like here where trucks are sort of a status symbol or even just normal. You know what I mean? Like where I mean, and Joe, where you live especially, and probably Tim, where you live too. Like having a pickup truck is just kind of it doesn't seem weird, right? It's just a normal car that you buy. But apparently,
I remember.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to add on to that. When I was in college, a friend of mine was from England, and he was always just fascinated. Of course, this was Texas, so there's a lot of them. But he was always fascinated by all the trucks with nothing in them.
Yeah.
I mean, to him, it was like people driving around forklifts or something. It was just like it's made for a purpose, and it's not being used for that purpose. So it's definitely a different mentality over there for sure. Yeah.
Well, and that goes to I did a video on it a while ago about how towing is a completely stupid metric that doesn't matter because no one actually tows stuff. There are some massive surveys done with like 250,000 people every year responding to this massive survey, and something like 70+% of people never tow anything ever. And you're going, why the hell do you buy this, thing? But if you even just look at trucks in general, they clearly have, at least here in this country, have departed dramatically from the concept of like a work-related vehicle. Of course, the truck companies still make those types of vehicles, but the vast majority of them are have 4 doors. They have leather interiors. They have these big, beautiful touchscreens with infotainment systems. It's like a luxury car that is more functional, I guess, is how I would look at it. That's why you can easily price out a really high-end F-Series Ford or something like that well into the $80,000+ range. I think when you look at the price of the Cybertruck, it's incredibly competitive for what you get out of it. And so anyways, there it is. It's going to be a bit smaller for Europe. I personally would love to see a smaller one for here. I still want them to make a more normal truck. In addition to these comments here on Twitter, Elon was on an interview recently where he talked about, maybe we'll make a more, quote unquote, normal looking truck. And that's not new. It came across. I even had people tweeting at me and calling me like, hey, did you see they're going to make a normal style truck? And I'm like, yeah, he said that in the very beginning. If no one wants to buy the Cybertruck, we'll do that. But guess what? A bazillion people put in reservations for a Cybertruck. What percentage of them will actually go to buy it is a bigger question, but there's tons of demand for the Cybertruck. So as much as I would love Tesla to make a more normal style truck, I don't think there's any incentive for them as a company to do it whatsoever. But there may be something else here related to the Europe thing with some kind of regulations or some kind of vehicle weight credits and those kind of things. So,
well, half the reason why vehicles are generally smaller in Europe, of course, is because the roads are smaller. The town city centers are based on horses. Driving around Perugia, Italy, or something where even in the most compact car, you're folding in your mirrors. You're still the pedestrians have to get up into doorways, to let you pass. You're not fitting a Cybertruck there. I'm sorry.
No.
I did, however, see a Lamborghini one time go through the tightest, scariest streets of ever. They were probably filming Top Gear or something, but like it was literally the tightest streets. I was terrified to drive this compact piece of junk, that was worth $1,000 or something, like rental car. And here's this Lamborghini just cruising up like it's no big deal. I'm just like, dude, I mean, literally like this much room on the sides of the mirrors.
They probably, they're probably
every
from
day.
there.
Yeah, of course, and do that every day.
And what's funny is when you're over there and there's like all this tightness, like you go into this weird state of mind of just like, whoa, that looks dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
but you're just like, oh, whatever. Like when we got married over in Positano, Italy, and I mean, it's the roads are that wide. Like it's mostly like not rickshaws, but little like one-seater kind of things that are, most people are on scooters, really.
Right.
And you go to a restaurant and they have seating outside by the road, and you're literally like
inches
away from the road, and cars are just like doing this, and you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna die.
When Jenny and I were in Brussels one time, we had the similar experience in downtown. I don't know if it's really called downtown, but like what we would consider downtown with all the bars and restaurants and stuff. It's so old. It was like before cars existed, right? And so the streets are like cobblestone streets, and the only thing, like there's no cars allowed even. It's all walking. The only time you see a car, it's not really a car. It's kind of like a scooter with a big thing on the back to deliver like vegetables to a restaurant or something like that. And it was the coolest thing ever. And I loved how that was. I really love the idea of, in fact, now with COVID here in San Diego, a couple neighborhoods have done that, where these other popular streets where there are a ton of bars and restaurants, they just completely close the roads off. Like you can no longer drive a car through there. And I think it's fantastic. I really think we don't need to be fetishizing this idea of bigger cars and bigger roads. It's stupid. It's a waste of money.
And that you have to park literally in front of the restaurant you're eating at. Like, we are so lazy in that aspect. Like, walk 3 blocks, walk 4 blocks.
Good for our
get over it.
Fat bums.
Yeah.
Have I told you about the most Dallas thing I've ever seen?
Oh.
Uh-oh.
An old rip F-150. No.
if it's the most Dallas thing, that's going to be the most.
Somebody cracked open a rock and there was an F-150 in it. No, there's a place called the Truck Yard, and it's a place where like they have a revolving food trucks. So it's basically like a big patio area outside, and every day they have different food trucks that come by and you can eat there. So anyway, there's a parking lot right next to it. You have to valet. You have to valet to eat from a food truck.
Oh my God.
That is the most Dallas thing in the world.
Yeah, that's bad.
I don't get it. Why is that a Dallas thing? Because it's like it's like pretentious,
lazy,
or
in certain parts of Dallas, especially the Greenville area, like it's pretty much you just have to valet no matter where you go. You don't really have a choice. And what kills me is like in this particular place, especially, you go up and it's a totally empty parking lot.
You could just go park there.
Yeah, and that's why when I first got my Model 3, I went to a restaurant. Sorry, we're on a little tangent now, but I went to a restaurant and the guy had to valet park it, and he had no idea how to drive it. It was brand new, and he was just like looking at it like it was a spaceship or something, and I had to like show him how to drive my car, and he literally just like backed it up about 10 feet into a parking spot. And then when I came back out, I just used someone to like roll it up to me, and I still had to tip the guy,
Right.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, have you guys ever used auto park, where you're like parallel parking or even perpendicular, and it pops up and you stop and then hit a button and do it? Have you ever done that?
Like twice, maybe 3 times.
Joe?
Almost never.
I have. It's easier for me to just park. It's like it's easier to just do it myself.
I was filming yesterday some Model Y stuff, which will be not on my channel soon, but on a different channel, and I was trying to demo that because it is one of the features of full self-driving that doesn't exist for regular autopilot. I could not get it to work to save my life. I spent 30 minutes pulling up next to cars, pulling up next to curbs, trying to just zero, just whatever, And then like when I'm pulling into my driveway, it wants to do it like into the rocks, into like a wall. Like what the hell? So I was just curious if it's just like oh hey, you're filming, screw you, or if it was like because you know how nothing ever works.
It seems really random.
It's very
seems really
random.
Like sometimes, like you just said, like I'll be backing into a spot and it's like perfect place to do it, and it doesn't do it. And then other times I'll be sitting at a stoplight.
Yeah.
It's like, would you like to parallel park between these cars next to you? It's like, no.
Parallel park on top of this motorcycle that's here. Like,
yeah,
no.
I get that a lot. There's a coffee shop that I go to, and it is street parking, but even if I'm just driving by and I'm just stopped, not reversing, just like gonna go forward, but there's cars, it'll want to do that. Like onto the sidewalk. Like there's definitely not a place to park there, but it just something in the road lines or something. It thinks that
needs a massive. I think they just haven't touched it. Like I think they've been focusing on so many other things that I think they haven't even looked at it again. And I think they're waiting until just the neural net's like smarter and better at identifying that before they even,
It seems like a pretty low hanging fruit, but yeah, they're probably bigger. You're not really gonna be like. No one's going to be dying if that doesn't work right. But if like autopilot doesn't work right, maybe a bit more risky there.
Right.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this clip from our show. If that's just not enough for you and you want to watch the full episode, you can go to olfpod.com/YT.
And if you want more from us, you can consider becoming a Patreon member. You'll get early access to episodes. You can join our awesome community. You can actually watch us record live and get your name in the credits by going to olfpod.com/Patreon.
So thanks everyone for watching. Check back every Friday for new clips here and new episodes on the main channel.
Thanks everybody.